It looks really messy and disgusting. Yes, you heard it right. Before taking the first bite, that's how Europeans discriminate against the American dish, pot roast. But what happens when that dull brown sauce hides meat so tender it falls apart under a fork?
How come we can't ever have just like a salad?
Be grateful, Juan Pablo. Today is especially delicious.
Oh, hot. A lot hot. 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 Right, go on. When you pour it out, leave it a minute.
Yeah.
When it cools down, that's perfect.
Everything turned completely upside down. Why does a dish labeled an aesthetic disaster conquer the most discerning palates in the world? This is not just about eating, but a battle between two completely opposing philosophies of life. Right in this video, we will witness some spectacular U-turns, as well as delve into the science behind the rich sauce and the typical American hospitality culture. I promise you will completely change your mindset about American cuisine. Click subscribe now to decode with me. Let's take a look back at the first visual shock of European YouTubers. Look, the pot roast pot just opened. Oh dear. The carrots were stewed to the point of losing all their edges, the potatoes turned mushy, and the dark brown sauce covered everything. Honestly, if you just look at the screen, this pot roast dish looks extremely messy. It completely lacks the meticulousness or intricate presentation that we often see in high-end European cuisine. No wonder the European guests initially looked at the plate of food with such apprehensive eyes.
Oh, here it is. Our Mississippi pot roast.
The pot roast.
Yeah, it's Mississippi pot roast.
Okay.
Oh, let's try the pot roast together.
Okay.
I'm so excited. I feel like this is such a big experience. Okay, go.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Pretty good.
I made beautiful roasties. Look at them.
Nice. That meat.
That meat is so good. The flavour.
That spice level was perfect. Well, you said it was going to be really spicy, but
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Ended up really good.
Do you know who did it?
You.
Me.
But hey, don't let that ugly appearance deceive your eyes. When enjoying, many Europeans have praised it. The question arises, why do Americans accept a dish with such dark and dull colors? And why, after tasting it, do many tourists become so enamored with it? The secret lies in the fact that this ugliness is actually an extremely expensive price to pay for an explosion of flavor. When one slowly simmers a tough piece of beef for many hours, a chemical magic called the Maillard reaction will occur. The nature of this reaction is that when proteins and sugars are exposed to moderate heat for a long time, they transform and release hundreds of nutty aroma compounds. At the same time, the layer of tomato sauce or BBQ sauce on top will begin to caramelize and crystallize, forming a shiny and incredibly rich crust. To put it simply, all the tough connective tissues and collagen in the cheap beef have been completely broken down. They melt away, turning into a rich, fatty gelatin that envelops each piece of meat. Thanks to that, when you bite into it, the piece of meat is not at all dry and hard, but so tender that it disintegrates right on your tongue without any effort. The dish sacrifices its luxurious appearance for a single purpose, to make your taste buds explode with delight when you taste it. Just hearing about it makes me crave it already. If you also find this culinary science moment interesting, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel right away. Your support is the greatest motivation for me to continue creating more videos delving into world cuisine and culture. But this difference doesn't just stop at the science of cooking. It also reflects a fascinating clash of mindsets between the two continents. So, how does the American culinary philosophy differ from the meticulous refinement of French or British cuisine? Let's move on to the next part to explore. Did you notice their surprised expressions? The English are very familiar with the traditional Sunday roast, where everything is arranged in a very orderly manner. Therefore, when they tasted the American-style fusion from the strong aroma of thyme in Gina's dish to the salty, smoky meat combined with rich tomato sauce in Kaz's plate, they were completely captivated and immediately gave 2 perfect scores of 9. The astonishment of the two English guests actually reveals a significant gap in culinary philosophy between the two sides of the Atlantic. If we were to weigh them in a comparison, we would see three completely different perspectives. The French, with Boeuf Bourguignon, view cuisine as a standard art form. Everything must be refined and meticulous, from selecting the wine for braising the meat to the intricate sauce-making technique. The English with Sunday roast, on the other hand, value clarity. Meat stays with meat, potatoes stay with potatoes. Vegetables and gravy each have their own place, maintaining their territorial boundaries on the plate. But the American pot roast is completely the opposite. They choose the philosophy. A pot that embraces everything. In the cast iron pot that has been simmering for hours, the boundaries are completely erased. Carrots soak up the sweetness of the beef, potatoes absorb the rich broth, and the onions willingly melt to create a thick sauce. I really like this perspective. A plate of food in Paris looks like a meticulously designed and aesthetically pleasing architectural masterpiece. But a plate of pot roast in Kansas gives you the feeling that the house has prepared a cozy spot for you as soon as you walk through the door. American cuisine doesn't require you to understand all the complex standards to enjoy it. It's simply a warm and generous welcome. If you are feeling the warmth and cultural depth behind these dishes, please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. Your small clicks are the wonderful energy that allows the channel to continue creating even higher quality content. And the generosity of Americans doesn't stop at dinner. Can you believe it? They even have an extremely strange eating habit that shocks Europeans once again. They put leftover stew meat into bread for breakfast the next day. Is this combination as delicious as rumored? Let's explore it together in the next part. Now we come to the most interesting part, everyone. Let's continue watching the reactions of the two young British people. They were watching an American food video and suddenly looked dazed when they heard the concept pot roast sandwich or meatloaf for the next day.
You know, the gravy, it hits the back of your tongue.
Yeah.
It does. It hits the back of the tongue. And those flavours, they just go, oh, I think it's the red wine I can taste. It's a little bit... what's the word to describe the red wine? But it gives it that depth of flavour and a slight little tang along with the Worcestershire sauce. I'm getting in such a mess with this, but I don't really care. Apologies if you're one of those people that hate to see people eating.
We're kind of on the wrong show, really. Okay, I'm going to dip this. This is bloody right up there. We'll dip this. Very messy, isn't it?
It is very messy.
Here we go. Oh my days. I didn't think this could get better, but it's even better with a dip.
I know, it's just amazing. I'm not sure if you guys would use different bread. I guess if you use normal white sliced sandwich bread, you'd be able to eat it with a knife and fork a little bit better. But I just love the little crunch you get with that French baguette. And that little bit of a chewier bite on the outside. It also holds the sandwich together well, but I'm not sure it does.
Did you see that? The man exclaimed something extremely funny. Wait a minute, guys. Is it legal in the US to put this meat in a sandwich? Looking at their bewildered expressions, it's just unbelievable. In European culinary thinking, stews or roasted meats are the main dishes for dinner, served on proper plates. And Americans? Oh, still have some leftover meat? Just put it between two slices of bread, add a bit of sauce, and you have an amazing breakfast or lunch. But this is the real secret that Americans call next day magic. Many Americans claim that pot roast tastes even better the next day than when it was freshly cooked. Why is that? The secret lies in the chemical structure of the sauce and the protein. When you put the leftover meat in the refrigerator overnight, the cooking process ends, but the absorption process continues. The rich sauce, spices, and fatty parts have a full 12 to 24 hours to seep deep into every fiber of the meat. At this point, the meat cools down, firms up, absorbs the sweet and salty flavors, creating a richness that a plate of meat just taken out of the hot oven cannot achieve. Not done yet. If you closely examine this segment, you will discover a very distinctive culinary code of America. European guests realize that if ranch dressing or mayonnaise appears on the dining table for dipping or spreading, then 100% it is the hallmark of the hearty cuisine of the American Midwest. And this is how Europeans describe the flavor when they bite into this sandwich. They no longer feel it resembles the traditional stew from their homeland. Instead, they exclaimed, "It tastes like a flavorful hamburger patty without the bun." A comparison that is both funny and extremely accurate. Hearing about this rich and hearty sandwich makes your stomach start to protest, right? If you find these familiar yet unique culinary perspectives interesting, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. The channel's editing team is working hard every day to bring you the highest quality analysis videos. From the initial doubts about their appearance to the surprise at their unique sandwich eating habits, what decisive move will completely win over the Europeans? Let's witness the spectacular turnaround and the perfect tens in the next part. And this is the moment we have all been waiting for. The climax of the spectacular turnaround. Adam, a very famous YouTuber from Northern Ireland.
Biggest meal I've ever done in my life. Ever. I'm going to watch over this baby like it's like I'm growing diamonds.
It's been over 6 hours, so it should be done. Well, it's definitely done. Alright?
You ready?
Here's the initial look.
Oh, smells good.
To be honest with you, the first time Adam made an American food video, he was so clumsy that he accidentally bought gelatin for baking instead of using fruit jam to make peanut butter sandwiches. Yet this time, Adam personally stood at the stove for 3 hours to prepare a plate of braised meat overflowing with BBQ sauce and smoked meat. His friends were initially hesitant, but as soon as they took a bite, they immediately changed their tune, giving it a straight 9 and 10 out of 10. Not to mention a family called the Bizzles in England. James's mother, a true British lady with an extremely picky palate, just tried a piece of meat with a crystallized caramelized sauce on the outside and exclaimed, "Wonderful! Really delicious! I'm in love with it." Even when a couple had a clumsy mishap, the smoked grilled meat wasn't crispy yet or the middle looked a bit undercooked, they still happily nodded in approval and devoured it all without leaving a single crumb. All initial doubts about the food, which was considered ugly, have completely vanished. See, guys? Indeed, speaking too soon can lead to trouble. But from the perspective of behavioral psychology, why is there such a classic reversal? The secret lies in the phenomenon known as liberation from aesthetic pressure. In high-end cuisine, people are often stressed by the standards. The presentation must be beautiful, the cutlery must be used correctly, and the plate must look like a painting. But the pot roast dish completely shatters that barrier. When a messy and rustic-looking dish appears, our brains automatically lower their defenses. And when the visual barrier is broken, all sensory focus will be entirely 100% on the sense of taste. The rich fattiness of beef fat, the tender melt of the meat fibers, and the intense flavor of the hot sauce stimulate the brain to release large amounts of endorphins and dopamine. It creates a feeling of safety, comfort, and warmth, something that science calls comfort food. The American pot roast doesn't need any cultural passwords or strict permissions to become wonderful. It conquers international diners with its generosity, authenticity, and hours of patient cooking by the fire. Watching those European guests turn around and leave in disgust like this makes me feel proud for American cuisine. If you also find this moment of the tables turning so satisfying, why not hit the like button and subscribe to the channel? Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next captivating reaction analysis. But this story is not just about a plate of stew. It also reflects a much larger picture of how international media are labeling an entire culture. Why is American cuisine so often bitterly misunderstood? Let's move on to the next part to decode the whole story. When observing the refreshing nods, or the perfect scores of 9 and 10 that European tourists give to the pot roast dish, have you ever wondered, why was such a delicious and warm dish once considered a disaster in the eyes of international friends? In fact, this is not just a story about a pot roast, but it reveals a significant reality about how modern media is shaping our thinking. For decades, when American cuisine is mentioned in the press or on international television, people often paint an extremely one-sided picture. Those are the oil-soaked paper bags from drive-through fast food restaurants, the bright neon-colored cheese slices, or the gigantic portions created just to film gimmicky videos to attract views. The media inadvertently turned American food culture into something rushed, industrial, and completely devoid of soul. But what the sensational headlines overlook is the submerged part of the iceberg. They forget the image of the heavy Dutch oven being passed down through generations, the family kitchens ablaze all day on Sundays, or the yellowed, well-worn recipe cards lying obediently in the drawer. The pot roast dish represents a completely different America. More subdued, more patient, and filled with the genuine affection of the cook, those who are willing to spend 3 to 4 hours just to prepare a warm dinner before you step into the house. When the World Cup is taking place in North America, millions of fans from all over the world, from England, France, Germany to South America, are constantly moving between airports, train stations, and bustling stadiums. Amid the long, exhausting journeys in a foreign country, a bag of fast food can satisfy hunger. But a steaming plate of pot roast brings a completely different feeling, the feeling of being at home, home away from home. The dish does not require travelers to have a cultural password or deep culinary knowledge to appreciate it. It is simple and generous, served for the whole table, bringing strangers closer together. What is the deepest lesson here? Many nations choose to preserve their culinary heritage like a precious artifact behind a glass case, original, standard, and untouchable. But America chose a different approach. They didn't frame a single voice, but created a larger dining table. There, every culture, every variation from around the world can sit together, harmonize, and contribute their own unique flavor. The cultural messages behind the dish are truly captivating, aren't they? If you love the way we dissect these profound yet relatable perspectives together, please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel right away. Your support is the greatest motivation for the channel to continue creating. But to truly understand why European diners have shifted from disdain to fascination, we must look directly at the core essence. What makes American cuisine uniquely distinctive? If you pay close attention to the dishes that have made the world do a double take from the pot roast stew, the brisket 6-hour smoked brisket, to the crazy combination of fried chicken and waffles, you will find an extremely interesting common recipe. It's not the strictness of royal recipes, but the spirit of breaking all boundaries. Europe has spent centuries clearly delineating boundaries between dishes. The Austrians have schnitzel, breaded pork, veal served, with potatoes and lemon, savory with savory. Belgium makes crispy waffles just to be served with powdered sugar, fruit, or ice cream, sweet on sweet. However, Americans look at those boundaries and smile lightly. They immediately placed a crispy, salty, peppery fried chicken piece on top of a soft, fluffy waffle, then drizzled it with sweet maple syrup. At first, Europeans thought it was a midnight joke, but when they took a bite, the maillard reaction on both the chicken skin and the waffle, combined with the explosion of sweet and salty flavors in their mouths, made them exclaim, "How can these two things go so well together?" In addition, in French or Italian cuisine, a premium steak is the pinnacle of timing precision measured in seconds, quickly seared at high temperatures to keep the center pink, tender, and juicy. But the Americans in Central Texas choose a completely different path with the dish: brisket, smoked beef brisket. They take the cheap, tough, and connective tissue-laden brisket, something that European chefs usually only use for making broth or ground meat. They don't shield the meat from smoke. Instead, they invite the smoke to stay all day. Slowly simmered for 10 to 16 hours over an oak wood fire, the piece of meat comes out with a blackened crust like charcoal. The Europeans looked over and thought it was burned, but when they cut it, the smoke ring appeared. The collagen had melted into rich gelatin, making the meat so tender that it bent and separated with just a gentle pull. That's when Europeans realized Americans have transformed wood smoke and patience into a high culinary language. In addition, the Austrians have the elegant backhandle fried chicken eaten with a knife and fork. The French prepare perfectly golden roasted chicken in restaurants. But American buffalo wings turn a meal into a mini crime scene. In 1,964 inches Buffalo, New York, from chicken wings that were originally just byproducts, Americans deep-fried them and tossed them in spicy hot sauce and buttery sauce. This dish forces diners to abandon all etiquette. They must eat with their hands, their fingers covered in sauce, wiping them on stack after stack of napkins. It is precisely that allowed messiness that liberates the mind, turning the meal into a collective celebration that no elegant plate in Europe can achieve. You see, the uniqueness of American cuisine does not lie in expensive ingredients or complex knife techniques. It lies in the spirit of limitless creativity, generosity, and the ability to turn the most humble things into an unforgettable experience. That is why Europeans may start with skepticism, but always end with empty plates and satisfied smiles. After all, the journey from being mocked as dog food to receiving perfect 10s for pot roast or meatloaf is not just an interesting turnaround at the dining table. It is proof that true cuisine does not need flashy appearances or strict standards to touch the hearts of people. The patience by the hearth, the rich sauce steeped in time, and the genuine hospitality are what conquer all initial prejudices. Now it's your turn. If you had the opportunity to showcase your cooking skills with an American dish to impress your international friends, would you choose a tender, sauce-soaked pot roast or a fragrant Texas-style smoked brisket? Or, suppose you are a first-time guest trying this dish. How many points would you give the pot roast? Please leave your comments in the section below. I would love to read and discuss with everyone. If you find this cultural and culinary analysis video interesting and it offers you fresh perspectives, don't forget to give the video a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to click on the notification bell icon so you won't miss any upcoming reaction and in-depth analysis videos. Your support is the greatest motivation for the production team to continue delving deeper and bringing even higher quality content. Thank you for watching today's video. Hello, and see you again on the next exploration journey. This video is created for the purpose of cultural analysis, media perspective, and entertainment. The reaction clips used comply with YouTube's fair use policy for commentary and educational purposes. The entire perspective presented in the video represents the analytical viewpoint of the channel, with no intention to attack, defame, or offend any individual, organization, culture, or nation.